All right. Woof woof. Good evening, everyone. It's great to see all of you here this evening. The junior vice job on the pound level and the pack level is much different than the junior vice position in the Marine Corps League. In the Marine Corps League, you're in charge of recruiting and retention. In the MODD, we have a different mission. All right, so the junior vice pound keeper, junior vice pack leader shall assist the pound keeper or pack leader, and senior vice pound keeper or senior vice pack leader shall be responsible for all activities seeking to increase the revenue of the pound or pack and for the supervision of the entertainment and amusement provided at all pound or pack grounds, and perform such duties as the pound keeper or pack leader may direct, and shall work closely with the pound or pack dog robber, be responsible for and supervise all devil dog roast, registration desk, sales of devil dog supplies, and raffle. To make that as simple as possible, your mission is fun and fundraising. Most Marines like to keep saying simple, so that's the simplest way that you can say it. The MODD is the Fun and Honor Society of the Marine Corps League. If your growl is just another business meeting, you are missing the entire point of the MODD. The order was founded to give us a chance to take a break from the seriousness and solemnity of the Marine Corps League and relax and have a few laughs. All dogs need to be reminded of this periodically. There are a couple things that have a huge bearing on a growl, and that is enthusiasm and motivation. Your enthusiasm and your motivation and your attitude towards fines. Unfortunately, there are some dogs that should not have been recruited into the MODD, and I'm sure all of you that have been around for a while know this. The best way to put this is the MODD is not a good fit for everyone. You can have a fantastic Marine Corps League detachment member who works hard every day and participates in everything. But if they do not have a sense of humor and they cannot laugh at themselves, they will never fully enjoy the MODD. When we're talking about fines, fines should not be viewed as a punishment. Please teach your dogs that a fine shows that you are being an active participant in a growl. When a dog gets a fine and the growl smiles or laughs, then you are doing things the right way. It all goes back to having a sense of humor. Now, of course, some pound keepers and pack leaders go overboard from time to time, and I know all of you have seen that too. Hopefully, all of your dogs will take this in stride. Before we dive into fun and fundraising, do I have any questions or comments? Okie dokie. We're going to talk about fun first. The mad dog is responsible for initiations of mongrels and pups advancing the DD. They should always have the initiate perform some type of skit or do something humorous. Initiates dressed up in funny costumes is always fun, but this should not be the only fun that you have during a growl. Now, I know you all know what I'm talking about, so I will give you an example. In the past, we have concentrated on dressing Marines up in drag, so to speak. A lot of the younger dogs that haven't been in the order that long have really been pushing for several years now to stop that and emphasis more on fun and funny stuff and dog related costumes, dog related accoutrements, so to speak. In order to keep things fun during a growl, the junior vice needs to have a plan of attack. Before the growl, you need to discuss this with the pound keeper and the pack leader. They need to have an understanding of what you are planning to do during the growl. So, what kind of ideas do we have for fun things to do during the growl? One would be, and I'm just going to share a few things with you, a coin challenge. I can hold up the largest challenge coin that I have and say, "Woof woof, Sir Pound Keeper. I challenge all dogs in this room to whip out a coin bigger than mine. If they have a coin bigger than mine, I will pay a fine of 2 big bones." That's always good for a few laughs. You could say the same thing. I have a coin from the Honorable 61st Chief Devil Dog, and I challenge anyone in the room that does not have one to pay a fine of 2 big bones. Something like that. Another good thing is covers. So I'll show you that. We all know that the only thing that you're required to have in order to be considered in uniform in the MODD and the Marine Corps League is your Marine Corps League cover. You'll see a wide variety of covers at growls. These are all quote unquote beaver hats. Those are all funny. One thing you can do is put yours on and then stand up and challenge the pound keeper or the pack leader to find everybody in the room that has one like yours or doesn't have one like yours. That's fun and it's funny. There's been discussions over the years about MODD berets. Before we dive into that too deep, I'll say this. In 2019, the kennel bylaws were changed at the Supreme Growl in Billings, Montana. All of the in-depth descriptions of MODD uniforms were removed. Now, the only thing that's required for an MODD uniform is your Marine Corps League cover with your Devil Dog patch, your collar, and your passport. That's all you need. Another thing that's fun and funny is masks. And you may do a mask like this to impersonate someone or something just funny. When you put them on, you can start acting up, or you can challenge the pound keeper or the pack leader to fine you for that. That's a good way to get dogs motivated and participating in the growl. Another great tool is funny awards. You may do something like this with a flyer, make up something funny like this. When you're trying to connect with the pound and get them motivated to participating in the growl. Chief Sanning made this up on me years ago at one of the Supreme Growls. It was hilarious. Little things like that you can do that keep things fun and funny. Also, the funny awards. We have the ones they show in the ship store or the kennel quartermaster, and that is the PIA medal, the pain in the ass medal. You can present those. There are no rules or regulations on the PIA medal. Another one is the Horse's Ass Award or the Flying Ass Award. You can present those to recognize a boisterous dog or someone that you want to mess with in a growl in order to encourage the pound keeper or the pack leader to pursue that and find them or get the entire growl involved in laughing. I got this one years ago. They made a big deal out of calling me up to the front of the pack to present this to me. That was kind of funny. Chief Hazlitt presented this award years ago. He got the biggest trophy he could find and presented it. Fun and funny. The entire goal is to be humorous. Another idea that you can take back to your pounds and packs is MODD trivia contest. So, for example, what I did is I went through the ritual, the handbook, and the kennel bylaws, and I wrote down 50 questions and the answer to them. Of course, you need to keep the questions simple. Write those down, and you can, if you have a small growl, go around the room and ask each individual dog a question, or you can divide the growl into teams and have the trivia contest, one team against another. That's another way to keep your growl fun. You can have individual dog or team reporting contests. So, for example, you get two pups to come up at the same time, and you have them report one at a time. If they screw up one word, it's like the Gong Show. You stop them right there. Move on to the next one. You do that, go around the entire growl if you have less than 10, 15 dogs. And of course, you're going to have one or two that get it perfect. And then you have a face off at the end. That's an idea for a reporting contest. I know a lot of you have heard that saying, do you need a lawyer? MODD trials can be very fun. They can be very expensive too, depending on who's conducting them. Here are some suggestions. You may decide that you want to prosecute a dog for something specific. I'll give you an example. Baby T-Rex lost her baby dino one time, and it was incarcerated. And this was reported, and she was charged with baby dino neglect. So she asked for a lawyer, and a judge was appointed. We had a very good time with that trial. When you have a trial, here's some suggestions: appoint a lawyer, appoint a prosecutor, and a judge. If you're the judge, ask the defendant if they want a bench trial or a jury trial. If they want a jury trial, pick 12 dogs out of the growl to ask as jurors, or you can make all the dogs in the growl the jurors. If it's a bench trial, of course, the judge is the one that provides. Have a long list of different court costs for bailiffs, filing fees, coffee for the judge, cleaning fees for the judge's robe, styling fees for the judge's wig. We can go on and on. You find the defendant one big bone for each one of these court costs. That's always fun and funny. At the end of it, I always ask, do you want to bribe the judge? If they say yes, they want to bribe the judge, I find them one big bone for trying to bribe the judge. If they say no, they do not want to find the judge or bribe the judge, I find them one big bone for not trying to bribe the judge. And of course, at the end, you have your final sentence. All of those things can be very fun if you put a little bit of effort into it. You have lots of dogs in your growl that are not as boisterous as other dogs. And your goal should always be to try to get as many involved in the growl and participating as possible. The last thing you want is that guy sitting in the back of the growl like this with a frown on his face for the entire time that you're there. Some other things you can do to make your growls fun is contest or games. I would strongly suggest you wait until the good of the order portion of your growl. When you get to the good of the order portion of the growl, the junior vice has already talked to the pound keeper, the pack leader, about doing a game or a contest. That's when the pound keeper, the pack leader, would say, the junior vice now has some games for us, some entertainment for us, a contest for us, and he basically hands the ball off to you. As soon as that happens, always take control right now before the growl starts devolving into chaos. You have to keep in mind the physical limitations of the dogs in the room. So you wouldn't want to have a contest of riding a hobby horse around the growl with someone like me that walks with a cane. Divide the growl in half if it's a small growl and make two teams, or if it's a larger growl, you can choose 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dogs from each side to constitute two different teams. We've had up to 4 teams, depending on the size of a growl, participating in a contest. Of course, Marines, whenever you have more than one Marine, one's in charge. You need to have a captain for each team. Use a dry erase board on a tripod to keep score of what's going on. So you need to come up with a scoring system anytime you have a game, and that can be very simple. Come up with funny names for your contest. For example, this game right here was called Dogs Have Sticky Balls. And each one of these Velcro covered balls that were being thrown at this target, that was the whole goal. You're playing darts on this board. You can have a ring toss. You can see this down here. That was fun. This was a really hilarious game. They got 2 pumps that you use to blow up an air mattress, and they connected them to balloons. So the dog for each team had to bounce up and down and blow up the balloon until it popped. That was really, really funny. You can do something small like this where they're playing basketball here. Anything where you can get the team cheering for the dog representing them and keep score, like I said. You have something simple where you got the guys or the female dogs sitting down shooting, especially the ones on walkers or the ones in wheelchairs. Always make sure you have eye protection no matter what you're doing if you have any kind of projectiles going towards other dogs. Last thing you want to do is hurt someone. Another thing that you can do is dance competition. I know several of you have seen that over the years in the MODD. You can have one dog from each team come up and do a dance off. They dance for 30 seconds. You can do that to music. You can make them sing. You can do whatever you want to do. You can have Nerf gun quick draw contests where you're shooting at targets, or if you have eye protection, shooting at each other. All you have to do is use your imagination. If you're going through your local Walmart or you're going through a toy store, even if you're going through some of the larger gas stations, always take a minute to walk down the toy aisle. You'll get great ideas for games that you can improvise just by checking those things out. Lastly, if you Google Minute to Win It on YouTube, there are hundreds of videos from college kids playing games at fraternities. You can modify them to suit your needs or to suit the physical limitations of your dogs and have a lot of fun doing that. Keep your contest simple. Keep your contest short and sweet. You don't want to go over 5 minutes at the max, or you will start to lose the interest of your dogs. If you do that, you lose the interest of them. It'll turn into chaos. No one's paying attention to what's going on. And you'll see dogs start looking at their watches. They're ready to go. They're ready to get out of it. When you finish your contest, make sure you get all the dogs back in their seats. Once you get them back in their seats, tell Madam Pound Keeper, we are ready to resume the growl, and the Pound Keeper will go into anything else under good of the order or pack leader. So now I'm going to open it up to questions and discussion about contests and games. Feel free to share any ideas you might have, suggestions, or any input you'd like to give.
We had a wonderful comment from PDD Covert, who is currently going by PDD You Can't Know My Name, suggesting that those dogs of the order go to Five Below.
All right, PDD Covert, I know you've got something to say.
I mean, if you know me, you know I rarely have anything to say. Um, we, I get a lot of games at Five Below. I get a lot of game ideas from Minute to Win It. I have produced games for I don't even know how many growls now. Whether I was junior vice or not, I always bring games with me, just in case the current junior vice for whatever level we're at didn't bring any. Um, I don't spend much money on that at all, hardly anything. A lot of the games you can pick up, ping pong balls and solo cups and things like that, and make your own games with spending very little of your money out of pocket. But it's always fun, and I have noticed a difference in growls. I've been to growls where they've had no games, and it was a lot like being in a meeting. I've been to growls where they had games, and it was still a lot like being in a meeting. To me, the crowd makes the growl. You can have a really good pound keeper, pack leader, whatever, running a growl, and if the crowd's not into it, you're not going to have a good growl. So if you're one of the dogs sitting in the audience, make sure that you're having fun and it's contagious. Everyone around you will start having fun.
We have a question from Erica, and she's asking, if we have costumes, can we simply donate them to our pound?
Of course, anything you want to donate to your pound, of course, will help. The Mad Dog should always have an initiation bag with costumes and things that they can use to make the initiations fun. Um, the junior vice, I never had a bag when I was the junior vice, but I always brought in two games that I had come up with. Devil Dog Jenga. I bought a big box of milk bone dog biscuits. And instead of stacking all the bones up at once and pulling them off one at a time, when it was your turn, you put one bone on the stack. And the first one that knocked the entire stack over lost. That was Devil Dog Jenga. You just have to be a little creative with things. And then, of course, anything you can donate to your pound or pack, I'm sure will be appreciated.
Chief Garland has his hand raised.
Woof woof, Chief.
Woof, woof, buddy. One bit of advice I would give to you is the more dogs you can involve in your games and fun, the better. There's nothing worse than sitting in a growl and having 4 dogs participate and 20 dogs sitting in the back with their arms crossed, going like, okay. And it goes on for about a half an hour or whatever. You're losing members that way. Get as many involved as you possibly could so they all laugh and make it fun. Don't make it strategic like we Marines usually do because we're perfectionists. Make it fun. Allow for mistakes to happen. The more mistakes, the better.
Woof woof, Chief. One thing to keep in mind when you're talking about having a large ground, I'm talking over 15 dogs, and you're having contests. Make sure you have room enough to do that where you're involving every single dog. Make sure you have them forming lines or getting on this side of the ground or moving the chairs out of the way before you start, things like that, so they're not tripping over each other and hurting someone. ED Cover?
I just have a comment. I would like to know where Stephanie got this voice from tonight, because it's not her normal voice.
That
I
normally
do have
costs
a
extra.
That's her professional voice. You don't know that?
Have you not watched the Kennel videos and seen my professional voice, PDD Covert?
Here we go. Honorable barking dog, hard after.
You don't sound
Boulevard.
like that at all.
All right,
She went,
any
she went
other?
to school to learn how to talk like that, just so you know.
Now, the Honorable Senior Vice Chief Devil Dog, I know you all have fun events and contests in New Jersey. You want to share one or two?
So it depends on, yeah, we had a couple of different ways that we did it in New Jersey. The past pack leader, PDD D'Angelo, not me, my wife, she used to put things together so that everybody participated and everybody would get envelopes or bags or eggs, things like that. And you would just kind of go around the room and each one would have something written down on it, whether you owe a big bone or she'll have any kennel staff that's at the growl owes a big bone or this or that, or you get a prize or you get something. And it always turned out to be good. And just like you said, Mike, it all depends on who's at the growl. If the individuals that are there want to have a good time, then you're going to have a blast. And it doesn't really matter. You don't have to. And those things that she did were not expensive. Took a little bit of time to put things together, but everybody had a great time doing it. So it just goes to your point. Make sure that everybody's participating in it, keep everybody involved, and you will have a great time.
Thank you, sir. Another great tool to motivate your dogs with these contests is giving out some sort of silly prize. And it can be milk bones. It can be Hershey's Kisses. It can be little trophies. It can be stickers. There's no end to what your imagination can dream up if you put a little thought into it. All right, do I have any more questions or comments before I move into the second half of this, which is fundraising? All right, I'm going to mute everyone again. And here we go into fundraising. First, I want to go over exactly where the big bones go. Most of you, all of you should know this, but I'm going to go over for those few that may not. The big bones for the Kennel Children's Hospital donation are kept in the passport account. You will also hear it referred to as the passport fund or the Children's Hospital fund. These big bones come from 4 basic sources on the pound and the pack level. Number 1 is passport stamps, sometimes called Visa stamps. That is the one big bone that you pay to get your passport stamp when you come to a growl. You cannot charge a dog more than one big bone to get their passport stamp. That is specifically stated in the kennel bylaws. You can only charge one big bone for a passport stamp. If a dog chooses to make a donation, that's a whole different ballgame. Passport fines. When you're checking into a growl, when you're getting your passport stamp, the dog grabber may fine you if they find mistakes in your passport, if your passport is not filled out correctly. Some pounds and packs will also have their dog grabber fined for improperly pasted cover patches or no engraving on your dog tag. Number 3, Chief Devil Dog's passport stamp or past Chief Devil Dog's passport stamp. You have the chief or a past chief at your growl, and they are willing to stamp passports with their personal stamp. You will give them a donation, whatever you decide that should be, in exchange for that stamp. And those big bones also go to the Kennel Children's Hospital Fund. And lastly, we have direct donations. These are big bones that your pound or pack may vote to send to the Kennel Children's Hospital donation. Some pounds and packs will have a Children's Hospital donation jar on the table when you get your passport stamped. Those are the 4 sources on the pound and the pack level that revenue for the Children's Hospital donations come from. All of the other big bones that are raised during the growl through fines belong to that pound or that pack. And the membership will vote on how those big bones are spent. Other than collecting the membership dues and collecting the big bones for the Children's Hospital donation, your pound or pack may choose not to do any fundraising at all. You do not have to have raffles. You do not have to go out and collect donations. But we all know if you want to do anything, it takes funds. If you want to do just about anything, you are going to need funds to do it with. Before I start going into ideas about fundraising, do I have any questions or comments on what I just said?
We had a question that just popped up in the chat message, and it is if the donation is slated to the Children's Hospital. I guess they are questioning, I am assuming more, how is it directly marked for it? Is it verbal? Is it on a dog dish? Can you explain that more, Mike? How like maybe donations specifically go to are earmarked for specific funds?
Okay, so to make this as simple as possible, when you are collecting big bones for anything other than normal fines during a growl, you have to state what they're for. So if you have a collection jar up on the table where you are collecting big bones for the Children's Hospital, it needs to be labeled Kennel Children's Hospital. Or if you have a collection jar up there for your pack children's charity, if your pack has a children's charity like Missouri does, it needs to be clearly marked so the dog knows exactly what they are donating to. We ran into a problem at the Supreme Growl many years ago where they were raffling off some cheap plastic cups. And there was a little confusion over where the funds were going. And I think it was 2,500 big bones were bid on these cups with the understanding that it was going to the Children's Hospital donation. So always make sure that everyone is crystal clear where donations are going before you start collecting them. That answer your question, Erica? No, that doesn't answer your question. Unmute yourself and ask it.
That question had actually come from Tony Poletti from Department of Texas.
I'm sorry.
I believe his question was answered. I did see Chief Jones's hands up. I don't know if Chief Jones.
Woof woof, we have the Honorable 61st Chief Devil Dog, PCDD Jeff Jones with us. Woof woof, Chief.
Wolf, I did want to make you talked about past chiefs and current chief stamp. There is nothing written in the bylaws for that. So, and myself and some chiefs present at the fourth gathering, we had a discussion, and there are other dogs that also have stamps that those stamp fees can also be donated to the Children's Hospital.
We will get into that at the Supreme Growl. Is there any questions about that before we go to PD Covert? PDD Covert.
Okay, I have more of a statement than a question. One of the big things, Michael know this and Stephanie, but when I became pack leader a couple of years ago, the first thing that I changed at the Grand Growl of the pack was how we do 50-50s. Show of pause, how many of you do 50-50s at your pound or pack growls or your detachments or department meetings? Almost everyone does. How was your participation in that 50-50? Is it high participation or low? Okay. Traveling around the country for the last 4 or 5 years with the MODD, I had noticed that most 50-50s had very low participation. And the reason they had such low participation was because it was assumed or it was almost a given that you had to donate your portion of the 50-50 if you won. So I had talked to a lot of dogs at detachment meetings and at growls, and they all said the same thing. You know, why participate? We just have to donate it back anyways. I don't care about it. So if they played, they'd play for $1 or $2 or a big bone or two, but that was about it. What I did was I started going through clearance aisles and things like that, finding alternative prizes. And the first thing I did was I said, we are going to have a 50-50, but you cannot, if you win, you cannot donate the money back in that growl. You have to either take the money or you have to take an alternate prize, but you have to take something. You cannot say, I'm going to take the money and then walk up to the dog robber and say, here, I want to donate this back. When I did that at our pack growls, which we usually have anywhere from 25 to 40 dogs in a pack growl, we went from the winner donating back maybe 20 or 25 big bones to now the winner is usually around 100 to 110, sometimes 125 big bones that the winner can collect. I do the alternate prizes. I don't make them expensive. I'll show you an example, right? Because I've got one here for the next one. This is a blanket that I picked up. It's got dog butts on it. It's a fleece blanket. Sarah actually found that. I can't remember what store, but she found it on clearance for $12. It's a fantastic prize. And even if the pot's up at 125, they want to donate it back. They might not, but they take a prize like that and they feel like they've participated and their money went for something. It made a huge difference. Our 50-50s went up 4 or 5 fold how much that we were making. And I will say about 50% of the time, they take the money, which is fantastic. The other 50% of the time, they'll choose the alternate gift, but it's just another way if you do 50-50s, whether it's detachment or pound, just a way to get those funds up so that even when they take the cash, which is a good thing, you're still making some significant big bones for the Children's Hospital or whatever you designated to. I designated the 50-50s will always go to the Kennel Children's Hospital Fund for Missouri Pack.
Okay, thank you, PDD Covert. Do we have any more questions or comments about where the big bones go for the Children's Hospital and fines before we move into fundraising ideas?
Yes, we
PD
do,
Sable.
Mike.
Len, you have something?
Ben Matson has a question. He's asking, where can we find information on where these funds go? He was asking whether it's the bylaws,
All right.
whatever, the breakdown. If you go
PD
to
Matson,
page,
or Ben Matson, I believe asked that question. All right.
yes,
Where the big bones go from passport stamps, passport fines, all the big bones that go to the Kennel Children's Hospital passport fund. That is spelled out in the kennel bylaws. That is also spelled out in the obedience school, and it's touched on in the handbook. But that's just for the passport fund, the Children's Hospital donation. What you do with the rest of those big bones, your pound or pack has to vote on what you decide to do with those. I hope that answered your question. All right, do I have any more questions or comments before we move into fundraising ideas? PD Shelsky.
It might be a little bit too early to bring this up, but when I was a pound keeper and or pack leader, you know, in the Marine Corps League, we have no rank. So if any of these dogs came to the growls and they had a rank patch, a Marine Corps rank patch sewed onto their vest, I would find them the equivalent of their grade. So like for mine, it was E4, I'd pony up 4 bones. And, you know, we had some guys walk in, you know, Mike Black, his daddy was a sergeant major of the Marine Corps. Well, he had his daddy's insignia on his vest. So I figured if he's sergeant major of the Marine Corps, it's got to be at least an E10. So I'd find him 10 bones. we raised some good money that way. And, everybody, nobody took their patches off, from then on. They just kept them on and kept getting fined. But, it made some good bones for the children's funds.
All right. Thank you, sir. Woof woof.
Woof, woof.
All right. So moving into ideas for fundraising. Before every fundraiser, the membership should vote on how those funds will be spent. And you should know this before you ever schedule or start the fundraiser. One of the easiest ways to raise funds is the MODD yellow roses. All right. It's very similar to the red Marine Corps roses sold in the Semper Fi store. Most of you know about the Buddy Poppy program, but this is an MODD yellow rose. Order some of them. This is where you get them from. You might want to jot that down or do a screenshot. John Foster makes these at Spawn Point Games. Email him. They're $30 per gross, approximately 144 roses in a gross. When I order for my pound, I ask the entire pack who wants them, and I order all of them at once. You might think about doing that at one of your pack growls. Order these roses. Schedule a date to set up in front of your local Sam's Club or Walmart or grocery store, whatever business you have in your town, large business that's willing to let you do that. Get together a professional looking table. You want a table cover, you want a donation box. It's wise to have a one-page brief on what the Marine Corps League and the MODD is, and specifically what the MODD does. Get your dogs together on the date of the fundraiser, and remember this: if you're doing yellow roses, you are not selling roses. You are not giving out roses in exchange for money. This is a great opportunity to sell tickets for your pound or pack raffles if you're doing a pistol raffle or a drill raffle or something like that. But when someone makes a donation, you choose whether or not to give them a rose. It's not a pay for play type deal. I want to make sure that I stress that. Have a printed sheet to explain what the MOD does in your local community, and be prepared to answer questions about exactly what the donations that the people are giving are for. After the fundraiser, schedule a presentation of an MODD certificate of appreciation. Take a picture, put it in your local newspaper. That's good PR for the local business and good PR for the Marine Corps League and the MODD. Another idea is an SOS breakfast. So we have an annual SOS breakfast here at our pound. Everything is donated, just about. We have $100 budget for the entire thing. Everything else is donated. We put it on at the local armory. This ticket here is from 2019. We're up to $10 a plate right now is what we're charging. We're getting one organized right now. Chief Spicer started this many years ago. But this is a good way to interact with your community, get positive PR, and make a few big bones for your pound or your pack. Once again, if you get everything donated, that cuts down your overhead, and that's the key to making a successful SOS fundraiser. All right. Create a pound or a pack logo. Once you make a logo, you can create patches, coins, ball caps, pins, shirts. You can sell them to your members, make a few big bones, take them to your pack growls, make a few big bones. It builds camaraderie and it builds the esprit de corps in your pound or your pack. Create funny groups within your pound or your pack. We did this years ago. a handful of us started wearing boonie covers to the ground intentionally to get fined. And we called ourselves the Boonie Battalion. We had patches made up. We would all wear boonie covers until the pound keeper, the pack leader, fined us. But that was funny, fun, and we made a few big bones for the pound doing that. Organize a pack fundraiser. So here in Missouri, in our pack, we have 6 pounds. We have approximately 180 dogs in Missouri. Each year, the junior vice pack leader organizes the annual pack fundraiser, and they roll that out at the Grand Growl, and it runs until the next Grand Growl. This is the one I organized years ago. What I did was I got each of the 6 pounds to donate or buy themselves one prize worth approximately 400 big bones. And we had a 9mm pistol, a shotgun, a $400 Walmart gift card, a meat package, a weekend getaway at a resort, and we had some high dollar bourbon ammo. It was a grab bag. So those were the 6 prizes. We sold the tickets for 10 big bones each, or 3 for 25. We gave each pound 500 tickets. We made 19,000 big bones on this in a year. But you have to motivate your dogs to do it, sell the tickets, and you have to get the prizes donated so there's no overhead costs. You can create pack awards to motivate your dogs to participate in your fundraisers. This is the Spirit of Bellow Wood Award that we have here in the Missouri pack. The Honorable 60th Chief Devil Dog, PCDD Alan Sanning, created this years ago. And what it is, it has three criteria for this award. The first, how many big bones your pound donates to the Kennel Children's Hospital donation. Second, how many big bones your pound donates to the Pack Children's Charity donation. We do a children's charity donation every year here in Missouri. And finally, your participation in the annual pack fundraiser, either how many tickets you sold or how many big bones you raised. We average that out on a per dog basis. So it doesn't matter if your pound has 15 dogs or 50, it's equal across the board. And the winning pound is presented the growl after the Grand Growl. That's a good way to motivate your dogs. The next thing I'm going to talk about is Operation Chowhound. Operation Chowhound is a voluntary program. You may collect food, supplies, and/or big bones to donate to your local no-kill shelter. Go to the kennel website for the OCH reporting form, receipt of donation form, and logo. The Honorable Quartermaster will have pound canine kits that you can buy for your pets and OCH patches for your vest. These will be available in the online kennel store and at midwinter, hopefully, in the actual physical kennel store. The big bones made from the pound canine kits will be included in the annual donation for OCH at Supreme Growl. When you do this on a local level in your pound, choose a shelter, number 1. Number 2, go there, get a point of contact, get a list of the things that the shelter needs. Schedule a date to deliver the donation to the shelter or for the shelter employees to come to your growl to pick up your donations. Invite your Marine Corps League members and your families to participate. Share the list of needed items with your Marine Corps League brothers and your families. Get everything together, take them over on that date, get a good group picture like this, do a newspaper article. It's a great PR for the shelter. It's a great PR for the Marine Corps League and for your detachment. You build camaraderie by doing things together. After a fundraiser or a growl, get together for chow. Knock the tables together. Go to a restaurant where you can do that, where you're all sitting together. This is after a growl up in Wentzville, Missouri. We had as much fun talking to each other here over chow as we did in the growl. That's how you build camaraderie. The dogs want to come to a growl. They look forward to it. They want to participate.
And ask for sprinkles.
All right, so I'm going to open it up now. We're at about 52 minutes. We're going to take questions and comments now. Do you have anyone that would like to ask a question or make a comment?
We do have a question from Jerome, and he is asking, can chow donations go to a food bank for less fortunate with pets?
Your pound can take the big bones that they collect from fines and a growl and donate them to whoever they want to donate them to, as long as the membership votes to do it. You cannot donate any of those big bones, the 4 categories of big bones that I talked about for the passport fund. You cannot spend them, you cannot donate them, you can't do anything with them but send them into the kennel dog run. The other big bones that you raise, the pound votes on how they want to spend them. Hope that answers your question. Do you have any other comments or questions? Woof woof, do we still have the Honorable Chief Devil Dog CDD Jones on here?
Wolf, wolf, yes, sir.
Woof woof, Chief, would you care to expound a little bit on Operation Chowham, sir?
I started Operation Chowhound, I guess it's been 7 years ago now. Basically because I wanted our pound to, the only thing we were doing was having our donations going to the Children's Hospital Fund. And I wanted to do that to kind of give us something to do in our local area. And that was my whole design for it. And I also thought that, you know, bringing a bag of dog food, you know, once a quarter to a growl is not going to bankrupt the dogs going to the growl. And it really makes a big difference to the shelters you carry this stuff to. I know a couple of times that I've taken chow to these shelters, I've had the people come out and crying because I've had a month's worth of dog food in the back of my pickup for them. And it just seems it really makes a big difference to a lot of people.
Woof woof, Chief.
Before.
One example I'll give you of how you spend your big bones. That fundraiser that I showed you that we did for the Missouri PAC. When we voted to do this, we voted that 40% of the funds raised would be sent in for the Kennel Children's Hospital donation. 40% would go to the PAC Children's Charity donation to a local charity here in Missouri, and 20% would go to the operating fund of the PAC. So you need to make sure you specify when you have a fundraiser exactly where those big bones are going, so no one is confused when they're donating or they're working hard to sell raffle tickets or collecting. Do you have any other questions or comments about fundraising? I would love it if a few of you would share some fundraising ideas if you have it. How about James Blankenheim? Unmute yourself, brother.
Okay.
There
All
we
right.
go.
Okay. One of the things that we started to do is get involved with other organizations in our area, like the VFWs, the motorcycle clubs, stuff like that, and work on a mutual project where, when we're all done with it, we each split it evenly, but you get them involved with us and us involved with them, and you've got some friends and contacts throughout the areas that you're in. And that's one of the things that seems to be helping us grow.
Thank you, sir. One thing I do want to say about fundraisers, especially if you're doing weapons, firearms, make sure you comply with your local laws and ordinances. New Jersey, I know there's certain guns, certain firearms, certain restrictions on firearms, but make sure you're following your local laws whenever you're doing the fundraiser. Chief Jones, you have something else, sir?
Yes, sir. Just also remember the new Marine Corps League policy is you cannot have the weapon at your event anymore because of the Russ insurance.
Unless you have your own insurance for your detachment or your pound.
Correct. But most folks do not. But yes, just remember, and if you are able to have it there, make sure there are no rounds anywhere close at all. And make sure it does have a weapons lock on it at all times.
Woof woof, Chief. D.D. Strauss, you have something to share?
Yeah, make sure they're also looking at their state's licensing for doing raffles and everything. Some states require license to do raffles. So,
And once again, make sure you're following your local laws and ordinances wherever you're doing your fundraising. Any other comments, questions, suggestions? All right, well, then we're going to wrap it up. If you'd like to discuss in depth anything else that we covered tonight, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always available. Thank you for participating this evening. I think the most we had was about 50 on this Zoom meeting. So thank you for your motivation and trying to help make the kennel better. I appreciate that. Woof woof.
Woof, woof. Woof, woof, Mike.
Woof, woof.
woof, woof.